off your lawn, make sure that it's properly, that you have the proper aircraft for the proper weight. So in our example, we're just going to say it's a UH-60 and the weight is 2,000 pounds. So you know the UH-60 needs a hard point of attachment, and because it's only 2,000 pounds, you only need one sling leg. So you'll turn around, your time starts, you check your point of attachment. UH-60 needs a hard point of attachment. I have a 10K Apex, hard point of attachment, so we're good to go. You know the weight is 2,000 pounds, so you only need one sling leg. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to take that 10K Apex, you make sure it's actually a 10K Apex with a proper spacer. You kind of wiggle on the spacer. If it's a 25K spacer, it will be very loose on here. You make sure that the collar pin is present and the castellated nut is not inverted. You make sure you have an actual 10K sling leg on the 10K Apex. Then you walk down to the grab hook assembly. You're going to grab the grab hook assembly, you're going to grab the sling leg just above the black potted eye. You're going to inspect the grab hook assembly the same way every single time. You make sure it's not inverted, the snap ring is present, as well as the dome nut or self-locking nut. You make sure it has a proper link count of 3, ensuring that the 1, 2, 3, third link is in the keeper portion of the grab hook assembly. So that is done, you're going to make sure that the lifting chain has been routed through the lifting apex one time and one time only. By looking at it, it's going to be very obvious if it's routed through more than one time. And by just pulling on the lifting chain, that will be a lot harder to do if it's been routed through more than once. When you come up to your net fitting apex, the first thing you want to do is make sure that the hooks have been taped and that they're alternating. So you're going to feel for smooth, groove, so they're alternating, so we're good to go. Next thing you do is you're going to identify your number 1 hook. The only way you identify your number 1 hook is by finding that notch portion, and the hook furthest from the notch is your number 1 hook. You make sure it's been tethered to the net fitting apex using Type 2 nylon, which is white, round, and smooth to the touch. And then you're going to check the lifting legs for the proper sequence. Since you're already on your number 1 hook, you might as well start there. You're just going to grab one individual lifting leg on that number 1 hook. And you give it a little pull. And you can already see it's coming from the right-hand side of the load. You make a mental note it's coming from the right, and you go to the next hook on that net fitting apex. You're going to grab one individual lifting leg and give it a slight pull again. I can already tell it's moving on the left-hand side of the load. So one is coming from the right, next is coming from the left, it's coming from the opposite side of the load, so we know it's the proper sequence. Now if you want to, if you're not sure, you can always double tap by checking the other 2, but if the first 2 are from the opposite side of the load, the other 2 have to be from the opposite side as well. We'll move on to check your breakaways. You're going to check all 3 breakaways individually, making sure it's the proper material. It is white, flat, and rough to the touch. It's 4-inch cotton webbing, and that it encompasses all 16 lifting legs. You're going to turn it around, ensuring that all 16 are in there for each one individually. Even if they're bunched up, don't just check it once because you're going to miss the deficiency if it's there. So you're going to check the next one. It's white, flat, rough to the touch. It's 4-inch cotton webbing, and encompasses all 16 lifting legs. Last one, it's white, flat, rough to the touch. It's 4-inch cotton webbing, and encompasses all 16 lifting legs. That is done, you're going to move up to the load itself. You're going to come up to the load, and you're going to lift and spread, ensuring that the lifting legs have not been misrouted. So you're going to grab the excess, you kind of want to grab it further down towards the lifting legs. It's going to lift and spread it, ensuring that the lifting legs are not misrouted, either through underneath the collar or through the net itself. You're going to do that on all 4 sides. You're going to come up here, lift and spread, lift and spread. Then you come back here, lift and spread. You can come on this side. Lift and spread, making sure the lifting legs are not misrouted. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to inspect your knot, ensuring it is actually a square knot, which you can tell by it kind of looks like that infinity symbol. The ends coming out will be parallel to each other on both sides, and you can move the knot like this. So if you move the knot, it's going to be a square knot. Next thing you're going to check is you're going to make sure the excess has been properly secured using 2-inch adhesive tape to itself, creating the so-called bunny ears. It is not taped to the collar or to the cargo net or excess to excess. You want to have the 2 bunny ears. So if it's loose, if it's taped to the collar, to the net, or to each other, that's a deficiency. Then you're just going to check for FOD. You're going to go around the load, visually checking for FOD, and also just pulling on the net, shaking it, so in case there is any FOD hanging on the net, it will smack against the barrel and you'll be able to hear it. You go around the entire load, make sure there's no FOD, and then you're done with the sequence. And that completes the sequence. If you have time remaining, you can start your entire sequence over again.